Good morning. Good morning. Happy weekend. Okay, so many of us want to protect our children from unwanted content and experiences before they're able to handle them. And so that may be even a reason that you decided to homeschool your family and brought them back into the wholesome environment that you can control and put barriers on. So there's another danger though in our own houses that we need to be ready to prevent these unwanted exposures, and that is so while I think we should definitely encourage our kids to go out and seek new knowledge and teach them about reputable sources and making sure that we are citing those sources and all those fun things, I think that we should also protect our kids at home as much as possible using screen time and screen filters. So today we're going to talk about how my family uses these tools, various tools, to protect our family from seeing unwanted things, if you will. So join me today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and enjoy. So the American Academy of Pediatrics used to recommend anybody under the age of 2 should not really be exposed to a screen at all. And anyone like children and teens, 2 hours a day. That's it. That's all you get. 2 hours from the AAP. That's it. That includes TV and computers and iPads and phones. Okay, so I completely agree with this idea, although a little bit, optimistic. It's when you're doing homeschool and virtual school, obviously, you can't really keep your kid away from the screen all day, and 2 hours is not very much. My 7th grader, I'll go ahead and tell you, he uses the screens a little bit more than that. Currently, the American Academy of Pediatrics has changed their policies to accommodate for new times, and especially with COVID, and changed it to say that kids up through 18 months old should not get any screen time other than video chatting, say with grandparents and such. For toddlers 18 to 24 months old, high quality programming is suggested that the baby and parents actually view together. For preschoolers 2 to 5 years old, there should be no more than 1 hour a day of high quality programming, also viewed together. And for kids 6 and up, there's no specified time limit, and so parents should just place consistent limits and make an interactive media plan, which interactive media plan forms are available on the American Academy of Pediatrics website. There are a lot of great guidelines as well as Very Well Family. I will link those below for your reference. We should try to limit it as much as possible. So we have rules set in place. The biggest recommendation that I've seen online and that we definitely implement ourselves is that we don't allow screens in bedrooms, in individual bedrooms. So every computer and iPad and everything has to charge at night in a central location. Everything is living in a central location, and nobody gets their screens past like an hour before bed. So, I think that plays a huge role in this. You can put all of the electronic protection on your child's devices as you can, and there's still going to be a way for them to get around it. So, or something you haven't thought of. It's just so easy. There have to be so many layers there. And so the physical barrier of having it in a central location so that you walk by and you know what's going on and you see what's going on, and you're actively helping them search throughout the homeschool day. I think that physical placement of the devices is so important and really catches a lot of the the things that filter through that you can't always catch with, the electronic methods. So anyway, that's the biggest, tip I can give you. So also explain to your kids, because they're going to say, but I want a TV in my room. I want a cell phone in my room. And really, I don't know what good can come from that. I really don't. Especially at the age my kids are, I think that they should, you should explain to them it's not about, not trusting them, or it's not about that kind of thing, or you don't believe that they have any malintent. It's just that sometimes things are seen that don't mean to be seen. It's a lot of the time is unintentional, and it will happen eventually. And I think the important thing is that you keep an open line of communication with your kids and just talk to them if they have an accidental exposure to something, and, do your best. That's all we can do, is do your best. Okay. So screen time on Apple products makes it really easy, since the kids usually game on iPads or on their iMac or on their iPhone. And so they have to request every single app. That's how we have it set up with the iTunes store. So we've created a family. We have everything synced into our account, and that actually goes to my account. And so anytime our kids want to buy a new game, they have to request it from me. And they usually have to buy it. So they'll have to reimburse us if we buy it for them. But it all comes to me before they can get anything. So I'm able to look at the game, make sure it's appropriate, and make that decision myself. And then if it is, I'll click allow, and that's fine. So the next step is that I have downtime set up. So of course I don't want them staying up to the wee hours of the night. Even if it is an innocent little game that they're playing, they shouldn't be on screen within really a couple hours before bed. I think we have ours set at an hour before bed. So we have restrictions at a certain time at night. Everything's off. Even if they pick up their device, it doesn't work. They can't do anything with it except for to call us in emergency situations. So that's downtime. So, and then there's screen time, which I have set really to not allow them to have, I think I have it set on like 1 minute, and then they have to request screen time on a certain app anytime they want to use their phone or device. So I can give them 15 minutes, I think 30 minutes, maybe an hour, the rest of the day. It gives you little options to click on, so you can decide, okay, how much time do I want to give them on this specific app. They can request multiple apps at one time, and that's fine. They frequently do, but they have to request it that way. So I set it at a bare minimum of like less than a minute, so that they have to ask every single time. Now, that's a lot of responsibility on the parent. I realize that, but if you have you set the mindset for your family, you have it set to where you really need to ask permission. Now, you don't have to do this for all your kids. That might be better for younger kids, or it may work for your whole family. It depends. Right now, that's how we have it set for our kids. With the exception of the school day for my oldest, I really have to give him more leeway with that. There's also, you can set content restrictions. So depending on maturity level for any kind of videos, anything that he can use on one of his Apple devices is restricted in that way. So the second layer that we have to put on his computer that he uses for school is that he uses Google Chrome on his iMac. So therefore, you have to set up restrictions within Google as well. So those restrictions are handled by my husband. He handles any Google and Microsoft. Microsoft, we don't have as much to worry about because they aren't usually using Microsoft Edge. Occasionally we have to use it, but for Google, it immediately tells him anytime my son logs in and goes to search anything, he gets an email, and so it is limited to prevent exposure to certain websites and everything. But that's an immediate, it is retrospective, but it's an immediate, hey, he went to this website. So my husband's able to see that as it happens, which is very beneficial to us, because if he accidentally goes to a site he didn't really mean to go to, we can say, well, we need to go have talk, and help him get through that. So, sometimes things happen and you just gotta, talk to them. Keep the communication open. It's not comfortable, but you just gotta do it. Okay, so like I said before, you really have to have those different layers. And sometimes there is the case, my kids do have access to PCs, but my younger two don't generally use them as much. Occasionally my oldest will get on a Microsoft computer, and so therefore we have to have the Microsoft restrictions. Okay, so as far as the Microsoft restrictions, my husband also handles these, and he gets weekly screen time and website reports. So any website that my son has gone to, my husband will get a report at the end of the week. I realize that this is only retrospective, but you can also set up more of a preventative measures, if you will, for content, and kind of by age, what he's able to access. So he's not really going out, and doing a lot with this one, but we know when he's been there. So if something comes up, we know about it. Again, though, I keep saying this. I know. I'm like a broken record. But if you know what's going on because you're there and you see what websites he's on, because it's in a common area, it makes it much easier to know where he's going, and if there's a reason for him even to be on one of those machines that you would need to monitor. So nothing is foolproof, nothing is complete. There are several layers here that you have to work out with, that works for you and your devices and what programs your kids use. But I would encourage you to be in the know about what your kids are going online and learning, so that you can have the discussions that are necessary and, protect them from the things that you don't want them to see. And if they do see them, it's not the end of the world. It's just time to have a talk. It's time to open that communication, and it's so important. Now, another layer of protection, another layer of protection and prevention that we could use that we haven't really looked into yet is that we have AT&T internet, and there are actually some restrictions through that we could also set up. I think one of the main reasons we haven't is because honestly it's a little bit too restrictive to us, because you want them to be able to learn, but you don't want, like, it's a balance. You don't want to overdo, but you don't want to underdo it either. So you have all these layers, but at the same time you can go overboard with it, I guess. It's just, it's something to be aware of. Okay, so none of those things even covers our PlayStation 5. So my son's games are downloaded on my husband's account, so he knows what games are on there. We have to purchase them through that anyway. So he knows what games are on there, so we do screen those that way. Again, we have a huge TV. It would be hard to miss what was on, what was being played. It's not like he can quickly hide that or anything. It's like right there on a big screen TV for everyone to see. So it's there, and we know what he's playing, and we know how much. So with that, we really just have rules in place to where he's not supposed to be on it after a certain time at night. Because it's in a common open area, like a loft area, we know when he's on it. So it's another physical barrier, not so much an electronic barrier, but we do have our own system in place to handle that. So as our kids get older and they get into adolescence and their teen years, sometimes we start to feel kind of, I say we, but at least our family, you feel bad sometimes because you're like, oh, well, are they getting enough? The whole socialization thing comes back into play. And even though, it's really, my kids are very well socialized, sometimes you worry and, thoughts creep into your head. So you feel guilty and you're like, oh, well, they can, communicate on the phone or via some game or some form of social media. Not yet. We're not doing social media yet, not for our kids. This is like a hard no for us right now, but as my oldest gets older, we will reevaluate it and we will see when he's ready. And we've talked to him about this. It's really a level of maturity and what we feel he is mature enough to handle, not what he feels he's mature enough to handle, or what the organization or the website that he wants to get on, whatever social media company he wants to utilize. It's not their decision. It's our decision as his parents when he is able to access that. It's not his friend's decision or peer pressure. It's our decision as his parents when he gets to utilize that. And I think, even when he does get to use those, main rule, we are friends, we get to follow, we get to see it all, we will know every single account he has. So the reason for that is because with some of those online social interactions, there have been a lot of cases of cyberbullying and just learning how to talk to each other and care for one another online and build each other up, and really enforcing the whole positive positive mindset online is important. And teaching your kids that once it's out there, even with certain apps and certain social media accounts, they promise that it just disappears. It doesn't ever really disappear. It's still out there and it's still accessible. So, if you put yourself out there on the internet, you can't pull it back out. Teaching those lessons and really talking to your kids about the whole cyberbullying thing and what it is. There's plenty of videos online, I know, and lots of resources that you can utilize as parents. The most important thing is that you do have the conversations, that you do communicate. I know sometimes these things are really uncomfortable, but it's so important to make sure you and your family are on the same page when it comes to the devices and the internet, because the internet is such a great tool, right? I mean, it's such a great thing to be able to connect with others, to be able to learn new things, and to, just, there's this whole other world, right? And the connection, the communication has the potential to be a wonderful thing. But, you won't give the keys to your car to your 5-year-old, right? So don't give them the keys to the internet until they're ready. Take off the training wheels over time, not immediately. So I think this is just so important to bring up and to really make homeschool families aware and just understanding that there is a danger there, but there are things in place to be able to handle it. It's not always going to be perfect, but we just do our best and hope for the best for our kids. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this has been helpful and maybe giving you a few tips and tricks. If you know of any other great tips and tricks or any guidance on this, please leave comments below on my YouTube channel, or please leave comments on my Instagram or my Twitter, and that's at BrooksNook4 for both. So if you can just, leave me comments. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see more videos and more information that I have to offer as a homeschool mom. Thank you so much again for watching. I hope you enjoy your day. Y'all take care. Bye.